Welcome to the IOwnHoops.com podcast with your host, Guy Flatico.
Hey now, Gale Nation. It's season 5, episode 15 of the IOwnHoops.com podcast, and it's been a bumpier weekend than we're used to. Also coming with a more recent episode here. I know we've been kind of stretching them out every couple weeks or so, but as we get into February and things get interesting, we might throw a couple extra in here. We'll see. This will be a quickie episode. I just want to share some thoughts on what we saw this weekend, and then also look at what's ahead real quick, because it's going to be the interesting stuff will continue for sure. Hey, where do we begin? The first half of these last two games at Manhattan and home Friday night, and then home versus Fairfield yesterday. Can you see two different halves of basketball than what we saw in those two games? At Manhattan, the first half, we ran into an absolute buzzsaw in the Jaspers. I mean, everybody's going to say, well, Iona didn't play well, and that's true. But Manhattan was terrific in that first half. I mean, terrific. Their defense, which has not been what we're used to seeing from defenses coming out of Riverdale in probably the last 2 decades, is not a stellar defense. Manhattan is not near the top of the league in defense, and they looked pretty good. They were very handsy and aggressive, and they were ready. They were ready to play us. And of course, offense, they just really took it to us in every way possible. Sindor is fantastic. He's my freshman of the year. He's probably most people's freshman of the year, unless you live in Albany, because they're already talking about Gavin Doty like he's the second coming up there. But that's Hayseed Nation. What are you going to do? Anyway, Sindor's terrific, and he proved it against us. He's a handful. He's a tough mismatch. He's a mismatch for a lot of guys. And they just beat the snot out of us. And we had the first unit out there, the second unit out there, it didn't really matter. Second unit actually played considerably better in the game. It just probably more the first unit just didn't have it. And when I say first unit, I'm talking about Jungers, I'm talking about Reeves, I'm talking about Adam, I'm talking about Menard, and I'm talking about Rupert. But the second five of Bundy, especially Bundy, Emubor, Mundi, I'm drawing blanks on who else was out there, but Winborn, and I'm forgetting the fifth player. It's been a tough morning so far, but you get the idea. I mean, and they've been, that second unit actually, I think, I don't remember what they don't always have plus minus ratings, and I know they don't always tell the story, but the plus, and Tobin will allude to this in the press conference, the plus minus Manhattan's against Manhattan. First half, like the starters were all like minus 20, and you know what the final margin was. So we lost 21. So like most of the starters were like around minus 20, and that second unit was more like even. So you get the idea which unit actually played better. Of course, the second unit made the run in the second half against the Jaspers to make things interesting, showed some energy. Yeah, I mean, it was a tough one, and immediately a lot of people were kind of like, well, there goes that. It was great. It was one fun while it lasted. My optimism thread is dead. All that other stuff. But then the first half of Fairfield happened yesterday, and that was, again, a complete annihilation. And the Kels did just about everything right, and just blew it open early and just cruised away to a 23-point win like it was nothing. And Tim Close is in the house, and Iona scores 87 points. So what happened here? Of course, Yvette Mundi was ridiculous yesterday. 25 points, 20 rebounds. He's the first Gale to have 20 rebounds in a game since Jonathan Duck in 1990 against Seton Hall. And of course, Jonathan Duck passed away, I think a couple of years back. So, yes. So this has been a while so 35 years since we've seen somebody get 20 rebounds in a game here in their shell. So, and then, so again, what does it all mean? I mean, the bottom line is, and I've tried to say this on the boards, and I don't know how many people believe when I say things like this. I mean, these are kids. It's going to be erratic. There were some erratic scores over this weekend, just wild things that happened that nobody saw coming. The best example I can give is Iowa State. They were number 3 in the country. They were favored by double figures easily at home against, I want to say, Kansas State. I don't remember what the hell they played. And they lost by like 21 at home as a double-digit favorite. They lost by 20-something points, and they're the number 3 team in the country. I mean, that's how erratic college basketball can be. And I think especially the first half Monday against Manhattan we saw that, they didn't have it, and they're kids, and that's going to happen. And especially when you got to remember Adam and Menard a freshman. Jungers is a sophomore. That the youth of that is going to lead to some of the erratic play. And if nothing else, the second group is a little bit older, a little more defensive minded, and that they might be kind of a stabilizing force for when that first unit doesn't have it. Now you can't fall into a 20-point hole, obviously, and that was a disaster. But it is what it is. But it's also now done. They played better in the second half against Manhattan, and they played generally a pretty complete game against Fairfield. So 3 good halves in a row, and lots of good performances along the way. So. Where are we now? So this was the big stretch I had said, when I did the whole optimism thread, it was that 5-game stretch. Is it possible we win all 5 games? Where would we be if we did that? Well, we went 4-1, and right now we're the 4 seed if the season ended today, or 5 seed, I believe. But we're tied for 4th. There is a gap between the top 3. We have a chance to close that gap in the coming days, and we're going to have some opportunities. So. What does it all mean? Here we have coming up. We have at Mount St. Mary's, which has been up and down. They have had a couple of injury problems, but playing better the last couple of games. But they've been up and down. But again, same record as us in the league. And we don't host them. So it's an interesting one game season series with the Mount. So we're there, and my friend Adam Pohl, who's a good guy, who's the announcer that everybody seems to either love or hate for the Mount. Looking forward to that one. We'll see how the Gales can perform in that game. So that's Thursday night at 7 on ESPN Plus, and then Saturday night the Gales travel to Poughkeepsie to take on league leading Marist. What will Iona bring in that game? Does the Mount game play a role in how they'll look against Marist? Absolutely. This is the time where if you really are a contender, you're going to start to show it. And if you're just hanging on by a thread and that top 6 is a dream, we're going to see that too. Or will things turn into a complete disaster? Following the Marist game, by the way, we're going to be home on Valentine's Day, so we have 6 days after the Marist game. And then we will play home against Ryder. So you'd like to think we'd be able to put that one in the books. The Bronx have struggled quite a bit this year. I certainly think we should be able to hold serve in that one. And then we're up at Quinnipiac. So there's that one. And then following that's no joke, of course, Quinnipiac on Sunday the 16th. And then we're home on the 21st, Friday night, against Manhattan. Oh, and then the 23rd, home against Merrimack. And then the Buffalo trip. There's no easy games the rest of the year. This is a tough trip. This is a tough run the rest of the year. So, but it all starts this weekend, Mountain and Marist. And do you go 1-1? Do you go 1-1? Do you sign for 1-1 if you're the Gales? I don't think so. I think Marist is going to start to regress to the mean pretty soon. They win too many close games, and it's going to catch up to them. Is my thought. Luck runs out. They have talented players who make big plays down stretches of games, and they have a solid defense, and that's why they win close games. And that's why they're going to be pretty good in Atlantic City. I would bet the ranch that if they're the 1 seed, that they will fall before the finals. Though that just is a vibe that I get. And of course, every year the number 1 seed falls probably before the finals. Of course, unless the 1 seed is Iona. Anyway, so we'll see about all of that. But anyway, I didn't want to go on too much longer here, but it is a tough road coming up. Who knows what it'll lead to. It'll probably also, how we do in these next few games will dictate how often I put up episodes of the podcast. But I wanted to jump in here with an episode now, looking at those few games, but also to share last night's press conference. It's a pretty longer one. We had Yafet and Dede Reeves, and then of course Tobin. So enjoy that as we wrap up this episode. All right, guys. This is almost like a complete opposite of what happened the other night. I'd love to get in your heads and just think what you guys are thinking when you have a first half like you had against Manhattan and then a first half like you had today.
I just felt like that last game, it was like a very bad one, and I had us all down coming into this next game, so we had a lot of anger built up. Like, we can't go out like that again. So all that anger we just had built up, and then it just led us to victory tonight.
How does the other night even happen? Like as the game is going on, Manhattan's just taking control, and now you're doing the same thing tonight. What gets into a player's mind when that's going on?
I felt like last against Manhattan, we came out sluggish. We wasn't playing together. We started doing things that we normally don't do. We stopped doing the things that got us the 3 wins in a row. So I felt like that brought us down. But once we started getting back connected, things started rolling our way. And that's why I feel like today our energy was different because out the gate, we started together, like no ups and downs, and that's really it.
And you've said it's been 35 years since an Iona player has had 20 rebounds in a game. 35 years. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, that's great that we get a win, so that's the most important. I just came here locked in, ready to play today, so I'm happy for that. But we got a win today, big win, and get ready for the next one.
In fact, you just had a very strong first half and 20 rebounds and you were 20 points. What was your energy like going into it? Is it just you make your first shot and you really gain confidence and then you just want to go for the basket? How did you feel today in the first half?
I mean, I was feeling confident. Coach Tobin talked to me before the game, told me to be a beast, be dominant. So I was coming to play, get ready to do my job, and so I win.
Can you talk about learning the mental aspect of the game and transitioning to Division I?
Yeah, so at the beginning, that was really hard for me because I think I have to get out of my comfort zone. So I was I've been to up and down. But Coach Tobin and the All-Star was every time we made support me every day. All my teammates was with me in practice, give me some good advice every time. So it really helped me. And today I think I played good because the all work what my team do and the coaching staff do with me. So yeah.
What moments, either in a game in general or today, do you realize that they don't have anything to stop you?
I mean, from the start, my first bucket, I was like, okay, today that's over.
Is it just
Yeah.
go bumping with player, you just no? I've never experienced it before.
No, I feel like that was a great day, and the energy of the team, the crowd, all that was today is it's for the game. So yeah, just go out there and play.
Day, there have been times where Tobin has said in your transition from a reserve player to a starter, learning those moments where you have to take over. Did you feel that at all at the second half today when things were getting a bit low offensively?
Yeah, I definitely felt that in the beginning because normally we up at the half 16 out of our games we was up at the half and some of those games we lost. So he just told me be a leader, keep everybody together, don't let nobody put their head down. So I just felt like today we needed that, especially after the last game we just had. So.
Did you guys learn anything from the tape from the first Fairfield game? Made adjustments for this game?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I feel like we was more dialed in this time around. I feel like we studied, we came in, we knew personnel better than we did before. And then we knew how the bigs guarded the ball screens, what they do on the back end switching. So I feel like we was more dialed in.
Great.
And your game has been very consistent this year. 19 points today. How is that for you as your game's evolving? It seems like you were getting a lot of passes today, making the plays inside.
It starts with my teammates and my coaches. They just every night out, they just giving me the confidence to go out there and be myself and go out there to be the player that they recruited. So having them telling me to go do that is all the confidence the player needs.
And Adam, Jai at 11 points today, but most of that was in the second half. He seemed to be passing more today. How is his game developing?
It definitely developed a lot from coming in. He was 4-star recruit, so he got a lot of people in his ears, but he definitely developed a lot from his first time that we all played together. And I feel like each and every game he's just getting better and better.
Do you feel like you're into February, the last month of the season, that you get, that there's a way to raise the level of the team for the stretch drive?
Yeah, I just feel like from practice, we got to start from practice. We got to do the other things that's going to get us to where we need to be, coming in, doing treatment, and getting the extra shots up, and that's really it.
Yeah, that same kind of question. What you had a terrific game today, a career breakout game today. How do you approach trying to do that on a somewhat regular basis, have a strong second half the last month of the season?
I mean, I feel that's team effort. We was all for practice yesterday from shooting around this morning. It was in the mood, so
Very good.
All right, so yeah, good bounce back win for us today. I thought we came out with a good mindset. I thought we actually, we got beat pretty bad and that stuff happens, right? So we got beat by on Friday. We came back on Saturday. Would have been easy to hang our heads, feel sorry for ourselves, but I thought we came back with a good mindset, had a good practice on Friday or on Saturday. I get all messed up these weekends. It's either Thursday, Saturday, or Friday. I don't know what day it is. So good practice, a good mindset. And I thought we came out and we really defended the first 10 minutes. I thought Yafet and Clarence set a good tone physically by rebounding and defending. And our guards did a good job defensively. We made some shots and shared the ball. So yeah, it was good win, a good game, and I'm happy that we, I think Fairfield's a very talented offensive team, and it was good to get that win.
How much of what you do is psychiatrists when you have like a first half the other night and then first half like tonight?
Well, we went into a buzzsaw on against. There's other factors in that game that that people don't know about that made that a tough spot for us to win on Friday, and they're good, right? So like Manhattan was ready for us, and that stuff happens. I'm looking at the scores all day long. I mean, Iowa State lost at home to K-State yesterday by 20. We didn't play well. They played well. You get beat, right? You got about. But the important thing is we bounced back today, played much better, played to our identity. Like we talked about the other night. This is all for our guys. It's all the first time through all this stuff. So it's all new but there's a lot of psychology and mental stuff that goes on into it, and so you're happy this time of year just to win and feel good and try to get better for another weekend next weekend.
Coach Afit Mundi, kind of a breakout game for him today, 25 points, 20 rebounds in the first half. First time someone in 35 years has done that. Yeah. Is this representative of his potential?
Yeah, I told him with a minute to go, I said, you can do this every game. Like Moses Malone, rebounding is not a selfish thing. You can go get 20 rebounds every game if you want to, and he's just got to have the, I think I've told you a few times, he's kind of like a freshman. Like just his whole overall approach is very up and down, right? So he actually had a bad shoot around this morning, and I yelled at him, which I have to do a lot with him, and he responded the right way and played well, and I think he is getting better. He is showing. I thought he played pretty well the last couple of weeks too. So he's showing signs of getting better and improving, and he's a big strong kid, and when he has that motor going and he's playing that hard, he's a factor for us.
Coach, you've been talking about trying to improve the offense, and you're just getting into the 70s, say 87 points, and DeJure's been so consistent, 19 points today. Is this what you like to see your offense do? Yeah,
I was frustrated against Manhattan. I thought we played really impatient and really, I hate to use the word selfish, but we shot a bunch of jumpers, a lot of quick jumpers at Manhattan. We kind of played in their hands. They want to play really fast. So that's when we're more patient and share the ball and move the ball and take our time and get the ball in paint, we're a much better offensive team. So there's certain things we know that help us offensively, and we didn't do any of that at Manhattan. Manhattan, we went through the stats the next day. It was we had 18, 19 possessions of one pass or less. Well, who are you going to beat with that, And so that was what got us in trouble at Manhattan. And then all of a sudden, you take those shots, and then after one or no passes, and you're back on defense, you're playing defense the whole game. And I felt against Manhattan, it was like a time of possession stuff. We were on defense the whole game against them, and so that just playing smarter, playing more, understanding who we are. We're not this unbelievable offensive juggernaut, but we can score if we take our time, get good shots, and not turn the ball over. We have tonight. We had 9 turnovers. That's throw the ball to guys in the white and good things happen. We had 9 turnovers against Manhattan in the first 10 minutes. So we're working on that stuff. It's a work in progress, but today was a good day.
Adam had 4 assists, 11 points. But is it easier for him when someone else is doing the scoring and he can think about setting them up?
Yeah, I think he's just still trying to find himself, right? I think he's a great point guard. He'll be a great point guard. He still fashions himself as a great scorer / point guard, right? So you can do a little bit of both and be good at it, but I think when he's a point guard first and then a scorer, he's a better player. Sometimes he wants to be a scorer first and then a point guard, and that gets him in trouble. So he's learning, he's getting better. He's coachable. We coach him hard. I was on him pretty good at Manhattan. I thought he didn't play well there. I thought he bounced back, and he's one thing about him, he's very resilient. He comes back and and he had a good day today.
Relating to Adam, you pulled him out early second half, said something to him, put him right back in.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Just about the same thing. Wait, there's a time when I think Justin had the ball, and it's two freshmen, right? It's like dealing with I have two kids. It's dealing with two. A lot of us have kids, right? It's like two children. He thought he was open, Justin didn't pass the ball. Okay, that happens, right? Or once in a while we're going to miss the open man. So I just said, listen, he's going to miss you, you're going to miss him. Whatever happens, we're going to keep on playing and play the right way and not show bad body language and not be upset with each other. So I pulled him out, then I pulled Menard out, talked to both of them like you talked to two kids, and they both came back in and played much better after that. It's just the ability to share the ball and to make the right pass, make the right play. And it's hard. Sometimes you're up by then we had a great run there. I think Juggers hit a 3 in front of our bench to get us up by 24, and that was great. And then for the next 4 minutes, we decided we were going to go back to our old ways of not sharing the ball, not hitting the open man. And especially now when you have Jungers and Menard and DeJour out there are some weapons who can make shots, and that helps us.
Tobin saw some standout performances today, particularly from the likes of Moondeem, Reeves, others. What did they do differently to prepare for this game after the loss to Manhattan Friday night?
Well, you hope you're mad, right? I was mad,
Sure.
right? So, but they're never going to care as much as you care. That's just how it is sometimes. If you get guys who really care, then that's great. And I've been fortunate, a lot of guys who do really care. We have a lot of guys in this locker room who do care, right? But we probably care too much sometimes, right? When your life and death is based on a bunch of 20-year-olds making jump shots, things are a little bit, it's not sane sometimes. So they were mad, they were embarrassed. But what happened? I think they responded the right way. There wasn't a whole lot of talk, and they just came back and they acted the right way, played the right way. I felt good after. I did not feel good on Saturday morning driving into practice, and I felt really good after I left practice. Okay, these guys are in a good spot. They're going to bounce back. They'll be resilient. So that was a good sign.
How important is next weekend with Mount and then at Marist?
2 road games, right? So you got to go win some road games. I mean, you got to go on the road and all these weekends, you split. You're 500, right? You got to try to find a way if you can. Now the next weekend's hard.
A lot of travel, right?
Yeah, a lot of travel. Yeah. So,
How do you deal with that?
I mean, we're lucky in this league. We don't travel. Travel's not bad at all. I've been in leagues where way worse travel than this, so it's not actually that bad. So we'll go play Mount on Thursday. We'll probably come back after the game here. We don't play Marist till Saturday night. Yeah. So instead of going to a hotel and hanging out for 2 days, we'll probably come back here, go to class, and then practice Friday afternoon, then travel on the day of the game on Saturday. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot harder things in life than doing that. We'll be fine, But yeah, I mean, Mount's a big game for us and I think they're playing really well right now. They beat Merrimack last night. They're beating, I think, St. Peter's right now. So yeah, road games are huge. You want to protect the home court and then try to go steal on the road and going next weekend and go get them. And like we talked about, this league's, I mean, we played well today. We beat Fairfield. Fairfield beats us up there. You play them a third time, who the hell knows what's going to happen, right? So it's pretty even. You just got to keep on getting better. We are getting better. I mean, you don't want to overreact to what happened on Friday. I think that was an outlier for the last 2 weeks. I think we walked into a buzzsaw team that was really, really ready for us, and they played well, and we didn't play well. And okay, the world's not coming to an end, I think I saw Jim. I saw it on social media. It was the low point of the season. I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that. I thought it was definitely a low point, right? But stuff happens, right? You get beat, and you got to be able to respond to it. So I was happy the guys responded the right way, and we'll take tomorrow off and go back to work for next weekend.
What are you taking from the early line change that you've kind of fallen into the last couple of games?
Well, so all right. That's a good question, Dave, but you always have great questions, right? So we at Manhattan, our starters were, I'm not, plus minus more of a hockey stat sometimes. I don't fall in love with it, but at Manhattan, our starters were minus 20, right? And our bench guys were even or minus 1 or plus 1. Go back and look at the stats, that's what it was, right? So I said to the guys on Saturday, okay, I'm sure and players hate that. They don't like the line change. Or others they hate it, they don't like it. Guys want to play 40 minutes, right? But I'm like, well, you tell me then, if you're minus 20, why should you be playing and the guys who are even or plus 1 in that game not playing, right? So if you want to get and help us win and stay on the floor, find a way we need production, right? So that might have been my exact quote to Yafet this morning. It was stop with the body language and the sulking and the pouting. Go get production. I mean, he listened to me. He got production. So yeah, I think we're still trying to like, hey man, that the guys off the bench are not as good a scoring team, right? But they can defend. They're tough. They rebound. They get our press going a little bit. And I thought today they came in and gave us some good minutes. And I don't think we'll keep doing that the whole way through. But right now, it's a good way to get in everybody in the game to see who's got some juice, you know? And I can tell right away, hey, this guy looks good. This guy's not ready to go. And then we can kind of adjust off that, you know? I don't love doing it, to be honest with you, but it's something we're just kind of doing right now. And like, you know, Comey, I thought had a good day. Like Comey hasn't played and he's practiced it well, so it's like, let's give Comey a shot, right? Played, I thought he did pretty well, you know? So we'll see how that materializes.
Speaking of your press, it seemed today to be, I know you want to wear teams down to speed them up, but today you actually took the ball from them, it seemed.
Did we? Yeah, more turnovers, right? I mean, they're pretty good at handling the ball, so we were a little bit better with I think we got some good turnovers. We forced 14 there, and I think they're top of the conference. So yeah, we had some good runs there. We fouled it. In the first half we were fouling a lot too, so we kind of had to stop pressing. So, and the same thing like that starting group with Bernard and Jungers is not a great pressing team. So it's like we're kind of trying to be a little more like stable, like not going crazy, not trapping a lot. And the guys on the bench come in and be a little more aggressive. Almost like two different approaches.
Coach, you?
After you.
You mentioned Comey getting in the second half. I also saw Jalen Barr got in for a bit. Is there a player who you're hoping is going to get healthy or is going to emerge and can contribute to the last month of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of guys on that bench. I mean, I think Winborn has potential to have a really good last 6 weeks here. Comey's gotten better. Bundy didn't play as well today, but he's been pretty good. Bundy played his. Bundy's always hurt. He played so hard against Manhattan. I think a guy like him gets worn down over a 48-hour period. Like he played so hard against Manhattan, and today he didn't really have a lot of juice. So he's got to get used to the back-to-back stuff, But I think those guys all, Winborn, Bundy, Comey, I mean, Yfet, huge, right? I mean, like, he hasn't done that. I mean, I got family here and friends here, recruits here. They're like, man, that kid's, unbelievable. I'm like, well, that hasn't happened every day, He's a wonderful kid. But we'd like that to happen every day. That's the guy we recruited, right? That's the one. It is just like that's the guy we thought would come here and be like a physical force. And like, I think in this era, like it just takes time, And I'm not patient, or I don't, and I've got to learn to be more patient. It just takes time, And we're making strides though. The last few weeks have been much better.
Coach,
After you go.
You had a lot of time with the players in the summer. Was it 40 practices or so?
Yeah,
we saw them after that. And then, the early season. What does it really take when you have 14 new players for a season to get them to play the level you want them to play?
I mean, it's like the practices are great, and a lot of sometimes summer's great for all the camaraderie and all the chemistry and that kind of thing. But you got to start playing games to get a better feel for who can do what. I think it's what it is. I mean, like, how much more do I know about our guys now after 20 games than I did before? You got to play somebody else, So I think it's helped us to play more games, and you just want to try to get better every day. That's the idea. I mean, our defense has gotten better. You look at the numbers; it's gotten way better. And we knew we'd be a good defensive team at some point, and I think it's starting to materialize. I don't think we're a great defensive team, but I think we're definitely getting where they shoot for the field today. Like we couldn't guard the three for the longest time. We all know that, and we started to guard the three a little bit better. So that part, I mean, we're making strides on that end, and we'll keep on working that way.
So you go up to Tim after the game, and I'm curious of your relationship with him, and
it's
maybe
great.
even just like the parallels of your coaching career.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Close is an unbelievable coach, right? So I'm at St. Thomas Aquinas, and he came from LIU Post, the same conference, right? So he comes over to Iona, and he's winning, and I'm right here. I mean, I used to watch all those games, and just like the way his teams played. We will get there. I like to play that fast. I like to play and score at that tempo. And like we did a Zoom call this past summer with him, the whole staff, and he went through all of his offense, all of his. I mean, I think he's a basketball genius, and the way he recruited it was ahead of his time. So yeah, no, he's a good friend and a good person to have in your corner, and he got a lot of respect for him. I mean, what he did here is, like Fran Francilla said, he was the best coaching career in MAC history, probably. I mean, probably it definitely is. I mean, he was incredible, and so he was very innovative in how they played in transition, how fast they played, and so he's got some wild ideas. I'm not totally. We debate back and forth sometimes about he thinks that whoever gets the rebound should be the point guard. That'd be Yafet a lot of times. I'm not totally sold that Yafet should be our point guard, but he is. So he's like, no, I don't care. He'll learn how to do it. I'm like, yeah, so we're. But I like his thought process, and so it's great to have him here today. I mean, that's awesome to have him back here. I mean, he's a legend, and anytime he's here, it's a great thing. So we had a lot of great alums here, a lot of great guys. So Gary Springer's my office. Steve Burt's my office. To me, he can score 30 today. I don't think he has any. I mean, he might actually the way things are changing. He might have eligibility now. So he was. Steve Burt thinks he can score on anybody. So he's in my office for the game. To me, he can score 30. Gary Springer was here. Dan Doyle was here. A lot of great alums. A lot of great players. I don't know. Was Ruland here? I don't know if it was Juicy.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, I think you had it with the grandkids. He texts me about it every day now. So I mean, people here are so supportive and so good. They want to see us get it going. Everybody does. Tim does too. So and we will.
Did Burt and Springer speak to the team?
I was trying to find him after the game. I couldn't. He was going to, but I couldn't find him after the game. So maybe he was enjoying some concessions or something. I don't know. Maybe him and Steve Burt were playing one-on-one. I have no idea. But Steve Burt I love that dude, man. He got a lot of confidence. I like guys like that.
Coach, just after a tough loss Friday, and you talked about the learning process of dealing with adversity. Were there any particular players that showed leadership that go around to their teammates and encourage them?
Yeah, good question, right? I mean, I know DeJour and Jalen Barr texted our strength coach, Rich, who does an unbelievable job after the game and said, hey, can we get some more lifts in? I need to lift again tomorrow, get stronger. I mean, Manhattan was, I think, really physical with us. Their physicality bothered us. So I think those guys, just that idea, and then they got, they went to lift, and they brought a lot of players with them too. Rupert was great, and just the tone was set yesterday at practice. Like, it's very easy. Human nature after a loss, when you're embarrassed and you don't play well, is to hang your head and feel sorry for yourself, right? So I'm proud of the guys. We didn't do that. We didn't hang our heads. We didn't feel sorry for ourselves. We were all upset about what happened, and we bounced back, and I thought we played well today. So definitely a step in the right direction.
Thanks again to everyone for listening to this episode and going with the ride here. It's been bumpy, and we know, and some people are on the bandwagon, some are off, some are on the ledge, some are not, who knows anymore. But this next stretch will, of course, dictate our season, maybe in some ways the future of our program. So let's see where that leads. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go Gales.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the IonaHoops.com podcast. This podcast is a production of IonaHoops.com and its publisher Guy Filatico. The opinions shared during this podcast are those of Guy Filatico, IonaHoops.com, and any featured guests. This podcast is not affiliated with Iona University Athletics or the university itself. Thank you for supporting IonaHoops.com.